Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history in hopes of digging up some kind of a gotcha moment, a gotcha angle to validate illegal immigration and open borders. And what she found was really shocking, guys.
The studio buzzes with routine chatter until Sunny Hostin drops a sudden ancestry jab at guest panelist Tomi Lahren. The remark drips with condescension, the audience gasps, and cameras swivel as Tomi's expression hardens into calm defiance. In 20 seconds, the sunny set of The View flips into a live-fire debate zone. Tomi Lahren has endured online pile-ons, but a televised dig at her family tree pushes the showdown to a new level. Sunny intends to shame her with 19th century immigration records. Instead, Tomi turns the research into a boomerang and lands a clean hit on the panel's credibility. Viewers can practically feel the tension bleeding through their screens. If you're tired of drive-by hot takes and want straight shooting confrontations, tap subscribe right now. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from. Let's see which state or country claims the front row seat for this clash.
Fox News contributor Tomi Lahren is here to respond to that. So, Tomi, what led to that bashing on The View?
Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history in hopes of digging up some kind of a gotcha moment, a gotcha angle to validate illegal immigration and open borders. And what she found was really shocking, guys. She found that my family who came here in the 1800s from Norway and Germany, that they spoke Norwegian and German.
Okay.
And really what she did is prove that my family came here legally, but what she was hoping to do was try to call me a hypocrite for believing in merit-based immigration. Again, she failed miserably, but this really isn't what she calls resistance genealogy. It's just another indication of Trump derangement syndrome. But I really am happy, though, that she has such a fascination with my family history, and I'm hoping that she will take on Elizabeth Warren's neck.
Sunny opens a folder and proudly unveils genealogy notes she or an online sleuth compiles over the weekend. The research traces Tomi's lineage back to Norwegian and German ancestors who arrived legally in the late 1800s. Sunny expects a hypocrisy meltdown. Instead, she unwittingly hands Tomi proof of legal, documented entry, precisely the merit-based process Tomi advocates today. Tomi responds without raising her voice. She frames the ancestry reveal as a self-own, noting that her relatives register at Ellis Island, file paperwork, and demand no government stipends. The audience shifts from eager anticipation to muted approval as the narrative flips in real time.
That would be very interesting. Tomi, a couple of things. They do not understand the conversations about illegal immigration and immigration. One group of people signs the guest book and says, I'd like to stay, here's my credentials, the other sneaks in. They might both be fine people, just as there's a way in and there's a wrong way in. And for them to go that deep in your background, you have gotten under their skin to a level I didn't think was possible. What is it about you that bothers them so much?
Well, it's not just me, it's anybody who advocates for merit-based immigration or has an issue with open borders. And again, just like you said, they don't seem to understand that we on the right believe in immigration.
With the ancestry angle neutralized, conversation moves to modern policy. Sunny and Joy argue that America's spirit welcomes all who seek a better life. Tomi agrees in principle, then adds missing context. The 21st century border crisis involves cartel exploitation, asylum fraud, and municipalities stretched beyond budget. She compares two immigration streams. In one line, families present documents, health checks, and proof of financial independence. In the other, they funnel through desert routes, pay coyotes, and disappear into shadow economies. The contrast lands because it feels tangible, not theoretical. Even a few left-leaning audience members nod when she emphasizes that compassion without order collapses under its own weight.
We understand that we are a nation of immigrants, and I am proud of my heritage. However, I do believe that the immigration crisis of today is apples to oranges from what it was in the 1800s when immigrants came to this country legally, were documented, worked for themselves, asked for nothing, and built a life and a family. That has nothing to do with the illegal immigration crisis of today that we must deal with. But they don't want to acknowledge that.
Sunny tries steering toward moral absolutism. Tomi anchors the debate in resource allocation, national security, and labor market pressure. The studio's applause meter finger tips again, this time toward the woman the hosts expect to corner. Joy pivots to personal attacks, labeling Tomi's stance anti-immigrant. Tomi counters by praising legal immigrants, citing their grit and self-reliance. She then highlights an uncomfortable truth. Mainstream panels romanticize historical immigration, but ignore the welfare costs and security lapses of today's unchecked influx. She notes how the same hosts who scour her family records never apply equal scrutiny to politicians who flout immigration law for cheap labor or future votes. The observation hangs in the air like a smoke detector nobody wants to silence. Twitter clips the moment within minutes, captioning it selective outrage. Sunny's body language stiffens, her earlier confidence drains as Tomi methodically reframes each accusation into an indictment of the show's selective research standards. Pressure builds the instant Tomi shifts from genealogy fallout to a broader portrait of the country. She celebrates America's immigrant backbone, steelworkers from Pittsburgh to Duluth, farm families who coax wheat from dust, and immediately pivots to the current border breakdown. She rattles off fresh Department of Homeland Security numbers, record fentanyl interceptions, escalating cartel profits, migrant fatalities in scorching desert canyons. Every data point lands like a metronome, leaving the table no space to hide behind abstract compassion. Sunny feels the momentum tilt and raises her voice, contending that Tomi's focus on crime statistics demonizes migrants. Her tone climbs a half step with each phrase, signaling moral urgency but also simmering frustration. Tomi does not take the bait. She plants both hands on the panel desk, keeps her shoulders square, and separates policy from people. The critique targets legislative holes, not human worth. Studio lights reflect off her calm expression. A camera operator instinctively widens the shot to catch Sunny's agitated gestures beside Tomi's stillness. The discussion now resembles a pressure cooker. Tomi underscores the human cost of lawless corridors, children abandoned near drainage tunnels, families indebted to smugglers, first responders stretched to burnout. She stresses that structure and empathy can coexist, citing border state charities pleading for orderly intake so aid efforts don't collapse. The audience murmurs approval. Viewers at home later admit online that the real-world anecdotes cut through platitudes. Sunny tries a new angle, questioning whether Tomi's critics deserve space in the debate. Tomi agrees vigorous disagreement matters, but reminds the panel that leadership sustains itself on measurable outcomes, not applause lines. She points to bipartisan task force reports gathering dust because hashtag campaigns overshadow legislative follow-through. The argument resonates. Facts on the ground stubbornly resist Twitter's rapid-fire moral highs.
Whatsoever.
Did you provide them with DNA, 23andMe? Because I cannot believe the detail on your background that they were able to get.
Well, I don't have to. She did all the research for me, so I'm sure my family is very appreciative.
What about Joy saying, though, what are your skills? It's beyond research. It is personal. It is mean.
Well, of course, this is classical Joy Behar, but I would like to ask Joy Behar what her skills are, because perhaps we could swap stories. I know I watch Joy, and she seems like a highly skilled lady, but for her to attack me, that's really interesting. Those in glass houses should not throw stones.
Volume on set continues to climb, but only from Sunny's mic. She interrupts to reframe border apprehensions as humanitarian crises first, legal puzzles second. Tomi acknowledges humanitarian urgency, yet notes that open-ended entry fuels predatory networks, erasing the very dignity advocates hope to protect. Each time Sunny cuts in, Tomi yields for a breath, then resumes at the same measured cadence. The contrast grows stark. Viewers subconsciously tally composure like points on a scoreboard. Whoopi Goldberg senses the tension creeping toward a tipping point. She signals stage managers off camera, twirling fingertips in the universal rapid motion, but the producer in the control booth hesitates, eyeing the live ratings spike visible on the real-time dashboard. Conflict keeps eyes on screens. Balance keeps the brand intact. The floor director finally cues a countdown, yet Tomi squeezes in a final line about volume never replacing validity, essentially summarizing the last 3 minutes in 5 steady words. Applause cracks through the studio before the first note of commercial bumper music rolls. The control room scrambles, mix levels surge, graphic overlays misaligned by a frame. Viewers at home catch the half-second audio gap, a micro stutter that underscores just how fast the segment detonates. Social media clip hunters bookmark the timecode. It's the precise moment where controlled calm eclipses rising decibels, sealing Tomi's advantage and marking Sunny's boiling point as the clash's emotional apex. The moment the View cuts to credits, the internet lights up like a switchboard in a thunderstorm. A junior producer's half-second delay on the broadcast feed gives clip grabbers just enough runway to screen record Tomi's calm rebuttal and Sonny's paper shuffling panic. Within 90 seconds, TikTok host react channels splice the footage with slow-motion zooms and shock emoji overlays. By minute 5, the raw exchange tops the For You page under the tag, "Here's Tomi, take over." X, formerly Twitter, follows a familiar acceleration curve. A handful of blue-check reporters tweet, "Wow, Sonny's ancestry swing misses." A swarm of quote tweets injects sarcasm, statistics, and side-by-side stills. One user posts a freeze frame of Sonny glaring over her genealogy binder with the caption, "When the receipts say, return to sender." That image alone racks up 50,000 retweets before lunchtime on the West Coast. Hashtag warfare heats up. The Ancestry-owned goal trends by noon. Receipt reversal joins the pile an hour later. Conservative influencers treat Tomi's composure as proof that facts feelings, stitching her lines into theme music montages. Progressive bloggers issue measured takes, admitting that the genealogy gambit strategically misfires, then pivoting to broader debates about immigration framing. Even skeptics of Tomi's politics concede she plays the long game by refusing to spike the football. YouTube reaction commentators churn out breakdowns at record speed. One channel slows the clip to 0.75x, highlighting Sonny's escalating pitch and Tomi's unbroken eye contact. Another overlays real-time analytics, watch time, spikes exactly when the genealogy documents appear on screen and plummet the moment. Sonny interrupts the guest. In the sidebar, thumbnails shout, "Owned!" "My seed drop," and "Live meltdown," each sporting neon arrows pointed at Sonny's stunned expression. By evening, compilation videos titled "Tomi vs. The View Director's Cut" push a combined 3 million views. Instagram meme pages take a more comedic route. They paste cartoon boomerangs onto Sonny's genealogy binder, looping back to smack her forehead. One design mimics a vintage Looney Tunes ending, Sonny's face inside a concentric circle with the text, "That's all Hostin." Brand sniff opportunity. Overnight, Shopify storefronts list volume validity mugs, t-shirts, and phone cases. A savvy seller offers a bundled boomerang bundle, ceramic mug, 11/17 poster, and a sticker sheet featuring Sonny's wide-eyed reaction. The first print run sells out before sunrise, forcing a pre-order window that pushes delivery times into next month. Mainstream media cannot ignore the digital roar. Breakfast Hour News aggregates the online clips, running a split-screen network anchor on the left, viral montage on the right. They cite CrowdTangle stats, engagement levels equal to last month's State of the Union clip, and invite media critics to explain why a daytime segment punches this far above its rating weight. Press watchdogs point to 3 elements: irony, policy stakes, and tonal surprise. Late-night comedians pile on, crafting monologues that riff on scrapbooking, your own downfall, and ancestry boomerangs. Corporate PR departments inside ABC review the escalated chatter. An internal memo floats, "Consider strategic silence. Revisit vetting protocols for personal history segments." Meanwhile, rival talk shows sense fresh ratings bait. Producers from The Five and Gutfeld extend same-day invitations to Tomi, promising an uninterrupted platform. Podcasts on both sides of the aisle schedule. Emergency tapings. One headliner titles his episode, "Genealogy Gate." The ripple spreads offline. On Capitol Hill, a communications director slides the clip into a Friday news dump newsletter, framing it as evidence that controlled calm beats theatrical outrage. A polling firm notes a minor but sudden uptick in net favorability for Tomi among suburban independents, attributed to viral visibility rather than policy conversion. College debate teams download the footage for future training on poise under pressure. By the 48-hour mark, the clash morphs from single-day trending topic to week-long reference point. Think pieces surface. What Sonny's misfire reveals about receipt culture, Tomi's tactical composure, and the new optics of debate. When genealogy goes guerrilla, each article links the original clip, prolonging its relevance and feeding platform algorithms fresh engagement cycles. Merch keeps flying. A niche candle company crafts a limited edition scent named Boomerang Backfire. Eucalyptus for calm, gunpowder for drama, subtle paper ink notes for those infamous documents. Pre-orders max out in 2 hours. Even Etsy crafters cash in with cross-stitch patterns reading "Check your receipts before you wreck your narrative." By week's end, analysts dubbed the phenomenon a textbook illustration of platform escalation. One small miscalculation on live TV unlocks a multi-platform content explosion, earned media, merchandise economy, meme proliferation, and a temporary reshuffling of audience sympathies. The digital aftershock cements itself as a cautionary tale inside network war rooms. Never swing your receipts unless you've read every line, and always account for the internet's appetite for ironic justice. The on-air clash between Sunny Hostin and Tomi Lahren flashes across social media feeds like any other daytime dust-up, yet it lingers long after the credits roll. The resonance comes from three intersecting forces that transform a 60-second ancestry squabble into a cultural case study repeated on podcasts, clipped for TikTok, and dissected in TV control rooms nationwide. One dear receipt reversal, the boomerang effect. Sunny steps onto the set armed with genealogy receipts that she assumes will paint her guest as a hypocrite. In her mind, the paperwork serves as a smoking gun, a tidy timeline, a ship's manifest, and a list of forebears who speak Norwegian and German. Supposedly ironclad proof that Tomi's merit-based immigration pitch ignores her own immigrant roots. The expectation is simple: display the documents, label the guest inconsistent, watch the YouTube highlight reel rack up sympathy views. Instead, the receipts reverse course. The Ellis Island era to meet descends from checks every box of legal entry. Fees paid, names recorded, sponsorship confirmed. Rather than exposing consistency, the documents validate her argument that order and accountability once guided the immigration process and should guide it again. Viewers sense the flip in real time. A collective intake of breath scurries through the audience as Sunny's confidence falters. Hashtags like "Our Ancestry Own Goal" and the boomerang receipts pop up inside 5 minutes. Clips reach millions precisely because irony delights. The very proof meant to embarrass Lahren crystallizes her case, and the optical whiplash embeds itself in audience memory far more deeply than any reheated talking point. 2. Policy versus moral posture, turning virtue into metrics. Cable punditry often trades in abstract morality, fairness, compassion, inclusion, phrases that feel noble but float free of numbers. Tomi seizes the opening created by Sunny's document drop and drives straight toward measurable reality. She outlines border sector footage of cartel smugglers. She mentions county budgets that allocate emergency rooms to handle overdose victims. She references the Congressional Budget Office tally of taxpayer costs per unauthorized migrant household. This pivot slams the brakes on lofty slogans. Viewers shift from emotional resonance to practical calculus. How many officers, hospital beds, and municipal dollars does unchecked entry require? By anchoring each moral claim to a ledger line, Lahren converts empathy into logistics, an arena where slogans must compete with price tags. Audiences accustomed to panelists trading virtue signals notice the difference. Comment threads fill with time-stamped fact checks and local anecdotes about school district strain. Talk radio hosts replay the segment not merely for drama, but for its concrete figures. The moment sticks because it offers a template. Marry principle to proof, concern to cost, values to verifiable impact. In an age of soundbite politics, that fusion feels refreshing and therefore memorable. 3. Gracias composure contrast, credibility in the calm. Television is as much tone as content. Viewers subconsciously grade each speaker on steadiness. During the exchange, Sunny's cadence spikes, her hand gestures widen, and her decibel level rises as she tries to wrestle back narrative control. Tomi moves in the opposite direction, volume low, sentences clipped, pauses deliberate. This divergence lights up the audience's trust radar. Modern viewers scroll through endless reels of performative outrage, making calm counter-narrative delivery stand out. Psychologically, a steady voice signals confidence in one's data. A raised voice hints at dwindling footing. The contrast becomes a silent scoreboard. Each interruption from Sunny inadvertently awards Tomi another credibility point. Clips of the face-off circulate with the sound muted, overlaying captions that spotlight body language differences alone. Influencers specializing in communication analysis break down micro-expressions, citing Lahren's measured blink rate versus Hostin's rapid eye darts. The quieter guest walks away looking more authoritative, and that stickiness translates into share-worthy replay value. Inside network green rooms, producers cue the segment next to ratings charts. They note the real-time spike during the genealogy reversal, the retention curve during the policy metric rundown, and the social engagement burst linked to the composure gap. Scripts for upcoming shows suddenly feature extra research blocks labeled Verify Evidence Chain, while guest booking teams warn potential panelists to prep ancestry disclaimers and budget numbers. Crafty publicists adopt a new mantra: bring receipts that stand, or the receipts will stand on you. Agents coach clients to maintain low vocal pitch under fire. By the following week, a rival daytime program invites an outspoken mayor to discuss homelessness. Only this time, producers mount a side screen filled with city ledger data, preempting accusations of superficial debate. The map of acceptable on-air tactics shifts because one segment proves that viewers reward substance and serenity over spectacle alone. Takeaway: the moment resonates because it operates on multiple levels at once. Ironic reversal, data-driven framing, and tonal juxtaposition. Each layer reinforces the others, creating a compound memory that lasts far beyond broadcast. Audience conversations move from whether they like or dislike a host to whether they trust or distrust them, an upgrade in discourse sparked by a single misfired ancestry grenade. Tomi Lahren enters the studio prepped for her public shaming and exits with the narrative trophy. Sunny Hostin fires the opening shot but underestimates her guest's readiness. The ancestry grenade explodes in the thrower's hand, leaving Tomi to walk away unscathed and newly energized. Now the spotlight shifts to you. Does Tomi's performance expose a deeper media double standard? Or does Sunny's ancestry play still raise worthwhile questions about America's immigrant identity? Scroll down and weigh in respectfully in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe for more confrontations that slice through spin with composure, context, and zero fluff commentary. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay civil, and remember, facts travel farther when they ride in calm voices.